I would like to give you an overview of a case study of an international industrial laundry where we actually use Concerto to help drive and resolve the problem of boosting productivity and driving costs down. The project was split into 4 phases: waste identification and improvement plans, embedding of the foundation tools of Lean, such as 5S, quick changeover, error proofing, project execution and management and the governance that supported the projects, but also how did we adapt Concerto into a standardized tool that could be used for reporting on shift by shift data, understanding the performance of the organization, and also ensuring that the changes that have been made were embedded into the business. The outcome of the process was a 15% reduction of resourcing hours, 25% improvement to overall equipment efficiency, with a $2.1 million return on investment driven through increased volumes with reduced hours in a safe working environment. I'd just like to take you into the model. So from an international laundry perspective, the first laundry that we worked in was a laundry based out of Melbourne. If we drill into the laundry itself, we will now show that there was 2 unique and independent pieces of work that were carried out in tandem with inside Concerto. The first being to build a utilities library, a chemicals and detergents costs, and also planned and unplanned maintenance cost contribution. These numbers that fed into Concerto came out of the financial planning tools, the ERP tools, and in some cases, OEM and base level Excel to build up that foundations of cost. In conjunction with the desktop review, we also ran an end-to-end review of the value stream of the actual operations. At a high level, it was broken into 6 process steps. Soil is where material from hospitals around Victoria was received into a loading bay. It then went into the sort process where it was segregated on a conveyor system and manually picked and packaged into unique sets of items. Then moved into a wash facility where it was washed, basic drying facility where moisture was squeezed from the product and it was then dried. It then moved into the ironing facility, which was a manual and automated processes. And then the final part of the process was for all of the material to be packed and then sequenced back to the end user at the hospitals. If we look at the wash machines, part of looking from a wash perspective, this was about allowing us to get the granular level of detail required to understand the cost of the process steps. There was 4 CBWs. At a high level, CBW1 had a cost of 52 cents per load. That was made up from higher run rate, warmer water, more detergents, more electricity. Down to CBW3 at 47 cents per load, which was made up of different garments going through the wash cycle, requiring a lower temperature and requiring a lower detergent amount. This was the first time from a business perspective they've been able to break down to the granular level of detail to understand the cost contribution of the utilities, the resource, and the timing of each of the processes. If we go into CBW number 1, we were then able to look at the fundamental processes from an operational perspective being time, yield, and cost. From a time modelling perspective, we broke that down into productive time across a 2-shift pattern, understanding non-productive time, but then from a business improvement perspective, quite easy being able to understand what was our unplanned maintenance time, why were we starving the wash facilities, why were we blocking the wash facilities. So straight away, if you think of your first 3 projects, there you have an amount of minutes that will turn into $1 return on investment. But this is being driven out of data that is coming out of the customer's data feeds. As I said, ERPs, OEM systems, it could be SAP, it could be base Excel, but you're actually using the client's data to visualize where the improvements within inside the value stream can be identified and how they actually manifest themselves at an ROI level. If we look at the cost model, the cost model allowed us for the CBW1 to get a really good understanding of how that 52 cents per load was being made up. We were able to look at a resourcing contribution and labour costs. We were also able to look at our variable costs, which were driven from the desktop review, driving down into our chemical detergent usage, gas, water and electricity. But beyond that, being able to understand on a shift-by-shift basis, what was our gas usage, what was the gas price that we actually contracted ourselves out from a 12-month period, what did we forecast within our budgets when we set the 12-month budgets against our gas usage for the process for every load of material which was going through each one of the individual wash machines. Once again, looking at quick interval control, if our gas usage was up on a shift-by-shift basis, automatically having that information that allows you to go back and look at your cost control through your maintenance scheduling, your run times, your gas availability. So once again, really breaking it down to a level of granularity that allowed us to map out the whole value stream and look at the improvement activities that allowed us to get the $2.1 million return on investment for this laundry. So I think just to go back to the bolt-on features of Concerto, and the advantage is you do not have to build a model end-to-end with hundreds of different nodes within inside the process. You can actually build a cost model independently to a yield model, independently to a time model, independently to a production flow model. And basically, the little bolt-on feature, that allows you then to, within inside the Concerto model, to start bolting these models together and getting a very, very comprehensive understanding of the system of activities from an end-to-end perspective. I think just going back to where we started and the advantages of using Concerto, for the customer, it gave a very, very quick return on investment, very, very quick to understand where the improvement activities were in the organisation, very visual and very quick to measure the implementation of the improvement activities and whether they were resonating with inside the return on investment. The ability to look at constraint modelling and build constraints into the process and then run multiple simulations on your business improvement activities to ensure that they're not constrained, and you can actually resonate and see that return on investment at the back end of the process and a top line. But also from a consultancy business perspective, it was the opportunity to drive more business development, building the model for one international laundry, showing the return on investment. It's been very easy to overlap that to all 10 other laundries, where we ended up with a $9.1 million return on investment. The power of Concerto is that Concerto is data agnostic, and Concerto allows easy data integration from across the value chain. This includes data integration from all major enterprise platforms, such as SAP, Oracle, Salesforce, Power BI, and Azure, amongst others. Concerto is powered by Google Cloud's world-class infrastructure and enterprise security. Subscriptions are inexpensive and can be set up in minutes. Contact us at concertoanalytics.com to get started today.